She's a homemaker, don't you know? She'll teach you how to cook and sew, and how to wield a hammer. It's the June the Homemaker Show.
Hello, and welcome to the June the Homemaker Show. Today on June the Homemaker, we will be making a quiche, also known as a souffle in a pie crust. For those real men out there who don't eat quiche, you take a bunch of vegetables, you put them in a pie crust, pastry crust, pour the eggs over the top, because then you're sure that everything fits. I'm vegetarian, so I won't be putting meat in it. If you are going to put meat in your quiche, I recommend pre-cooking the meat, just because it's safer that way. I will also be using cage-free eggs, because if you're going to steal a chicken's fetus, heat it until it is meat-like and consume its flesh, then you can at least steal the fetus from a happy chicken. I'm going to do the egg scrambling thing at the end. You need 6 to 8 eggs, a little bit of milk, some cheese, and some vegetables. We are going to be using some broccoli, spinach, tomatoes, an onion, sharp cheddar cheese. We're going to chop some broccoli. So I'm a florets only kind of person, so I'm going to chop the florets off. Always remember, clean your fresh broccoli thoroughly, because it's just hard. It's a hard life when you're broccoli. You absorb a lot of things that aren't what you're meant to have in you. I have pre-cleaned my broccoli. You do a little bit of the rubbing on the broccoli. Cold water. You don't have to use soap. I chopped up the broccoli and I put it all in the pie crust. Now I'm going to take spinach leaves, which come from a bag. I probably shouldn't show brand names today. I'm not technically endorsing anything. These were just the things that were in the fridge. The thing about the size of your broccoli florets is you want them to be small enough so they will actually cook inside the egg stuff, and when your quiche comes out, they won't still be crunchy. Crunchy broccoli makes an unhappy party. Now I'm going to cut up some onion. I'm going to use about that much onion, not too much onion. Oh, I just want you to come off without cutting me. I've succeeded. I have conquered the vegetable kingdom. Here's how I cut onions. I slice them in the way that they're circles first. Then I put the circles on top of each other like it was a whole onion again. Then I cut them in one direction in sort of big chunks. Then I cut them in the other direction in very small chunks. This leads to small onion chunks. If you can keep all the pieces together, which is challenging. Now we have this little pile of onion, which is so cute and adorable. We are going to need some cheese. Cheese! I generally like cheese that is not yet shredded because grating cheese doesn't take that much time, and you can get more cheese for your money if you do it this way. So I just broke the cheese. So you can see my cheese technique. And with this kind of a thing, you can watch through the top to see how much cheese you have. That's a significant amount of cheese. Now you need 6 to 8 eggs. I think we're going to start with a mixture of 6 eggs and some cheese and stuff. Eggs. Do that 6 times. Much egg stuff, but I think... Okay, now I have a fork to make these things be scrambled. You break the little things, and then you just go crazy. You just have an egg rave that is insane. I'm also going to add a dollop of milk. We call that a blurp around here, which makes the eggs light-colored and fluffy once they cook up. I am also going to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper to flavor it a little bit. And we make all of that go together. Now that the salt, pepper, egg stuff is all mixed together, I'm going to actually put into the eggs cheese and onion. We want to save some of the cheese to put on top of this whole shebang, so don't use all of your cheese, but do put all of the onion in here. Then we're going to pour it in over the vegetables that we already have in the pie pan. Well, I found that that does not really fill up the pie pan, so I'm going to do a couple more eggs. Here's this. 8 eggs didn't even do it, so we're upgrading to 9. Here we go. No idea. Okay, there's that. So what we have now in this pie crust thing is some veggies and some cheese that are floating around. It's floating, and I'm mixing it to make sure that there aren't any vegetables just stuck to the bottom that are just going to get burned to the pie crust. We still have to preheat the oven. I'm an idiot. Preheat your oven at the beginning, please. I'm going to set the oven to 350 degrees. This quiche will cook for about 45 minutes to an hour. If it seems kind of solid and the top is browning, then that's usually a pretty good sign. I am going to take some strips of aluminum foil to cover our cute little crust so that it doesn't burn while the quiche is cooking. Whole pie crust is covered. Then take a baking pan. Let's say that your quiche is in the oven. Let's say that you overfilled your quiche by a significant amount, which I may have. If your quiche overflows, then it will overflow onto this baking pan instead of onto the bottom of your oven where it will hurt everything. Teaches you another lesson. Always check where your things are. And by things I mean shelves are before you put things in the oven. Okay, so I'm putting that sort of vaguely in the center of the oven. I have also pre-washed some tomatoes. I like fresh tomatoes on my quiche and not cooked tomatoes. I cut tomatoes the way that I cut onions, actually. I'm cutting out the little stem part first. I cut tomatoes in half. Then I usually cut a slice. Then I cut big chunks in one direction and little chunks in another direction. Now we have a little bowl of tomato. So now all we really need to do is wait for the quiche to come out of the oven. My quiche is ready to come out of the oven. It has been in there for about an hour. Here's a little cooling rack. Here it comes. There's the quiche a little bit. It is so exciting and hot. And there you go. Now all that's left to do is cut up the quiche into pie-shaped slices and garnish with a bit of the tomato that we cut up earlier. So that is June the Homemaker's Guide to Quiche, and now I am going to eat it.